Good evening. Welcome to this regular meeting of the Poway Unified School Board. It is November 14th at 6:03 p.m. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast, so if you're here, you might be seen or heard on that recording. I now invite you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. For our report out of closed session, Clerk Couvret.
For November 14th, 2024, our closed session began at 4:04, and the Board of Education took the following action in closed session. 2.1-A, in the matter of conference with legal counsel pending existing litigation, case number ADR 09272024. On a motion by Plotsky and a second by Seitzma, the board voted to approve the settlement agreement. There were 4 ayes and 1 is absent. 2.1-B, in the matter of conference with legal counsel pending existing litigation, case number OAH 2024-060907. On a motion by Dr. Seitzma and a second by Couvret, the board voted to approve the settlement agreement. There were 4 ayes and 1 absent. 2.1-C, in the matter of conference with legal counsel pending existing litigation, case number OAH 2024-080812. On a motion by Seitzma and a second by O'Connor-Radcliffe, the board voted to approve the settlement agreement. 4 ayes and 1 absent. 2.5, due to the hiring of the next superintendent, the board will no longer need the services of an interim superintendent. Therefore, the board has voted to terminate the interim superintendent employment agreement with Greg Mizell and directed the board president to give written notice to Mr. Mizell of such action in accordance with the current contract. Upon termination of his services as interim superintendent, Mr. Mizell shall continue in his current role as Associate Superintendent of Student Support Services. The board thanks and appreciates Mr. Mizell for his leadership during the past 9 months. This was on a motion by O'Connor-Radcliffe, second by Seitzma, 4 yeses and 1 absent. There was no other reportable action taken during closed session. Closed session ended at 5:53.
Thank you, Clerk Couvret. Please note, for our members in attendance, we are missing 1 member due to a delayed flight. We do expect Dr. Patel to arrive eventually, as soon as possible. But please note that all other members are in attendance. And 3.4, the welcome to the public. Ms. Kiley.
Welcome to the monthly meeting of the Board of Education. If you would like to address the board on any agenda item, please complete a speaker slip. All requests to speak must be submitted to the clerk of the board before the agenda item comes up. Speaking time for agenda items is 2 minutes per speaker. If you would like to address the board on a non-agendized item, you may do so under item 4.2, public comments. Speaking time is limited to 2 minutes per speaker with a maximum of 30 minutes total unless waived by the board president. There will be a 30-second yellow warning light when time is running out. Speakers may only speak on one topic under item 4.2 and may not defer their speaking time to another individual. If there are concerns regarding specific individuals, it is preferred that the speaker refrain from naming them publicly to respect their privacy. The board will accept and review any written materials that would provide more specific information. The Brown Act does not permit board action or extended discussion on any item not on the agenda, but your concerns will be referred to staff. With that said, welcome and thank you for coming.
Thank you, Ms. Kiley. Item 3.4 is the approval of the agenda sequence. Anything anyone has to share, mention? If not, is there a motion?
No.
Not yet, no. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. All right, on a motion by Dr. Seitzma, a second by Ms. Couvret. Any discussion? All in favor? Starting with Ms. Kiley down there. Thank you, and everybody else? Aye. Okay, so that is, I want to say 6, but it's only 5 of us right now. 5-0. Thank you. 4.1, our student board representatives. Let's start with Joey from Del Norte High School. Come on down. I have Del Norte on my thing here, so sorry. That was confused. Okay, excuse me, Joey, you can still come down, and you're from Abraxas. Thank you and welcome. Sorry for the confusion. We want to turn on your mic for you so everyone can hear.
Okay, this time it's going to work. Hello, and thank you for allowing me to present to you this evening. My name is Joey Stitzer, and I would like to share with you a little of what has been happening at Abraxas High School recently. We have two programs at Abraxas, the Diploma Program and the Transition Program. I am a student in the Diploma Program. The students in the Transition Program have been working at their job sites since early in the first quarter. This year, 14 students are participating in the Kitchen Table Academy, learning job skills in the food service industry as well as in connected areas such as agriculture. These students hosted their second farmers market at the district office this past Wednesday. Students in the Transition Program also participate in vocational field trips, such as a recent trip to Options for All. The Transition Program is happy to welcome a new business partner this year, the City Fund Center, which is providing additional job training opportunities for our students. Weekly career presentations continue for our Abraxas Diploma Program students by professionals in a variety of industries. Recent presentations have introduced careers as diverse as those in law and archaeology to those in trades and the military. In addition, students have attended presentations from both Palomar and Miramar community colleges. They will be going on a tour of both of these community colleges in the near future. The Abraxas Garden continues to produce and donate food to families in need. It has now surpassed the 28,000-pound mark in donated produce. The Abraxas Garden Fall Fundraiser was very successful. It provided a venue for the community to learn about our school and our programs. Students from the agriculture, culinary, and arts programs showcased what they have been learning. At the end of October, the Abraxas Save Promise Club hosted their annual Spooktacular event, which brings the diploma and transition programs together and boosts school spirit. The Save Club continues to host and plan events for both programs to help all of our students feel welcomed and connected to the campus. Now I'd just like to talk about how the school has helped me out. I'm at the school because I did not try when I was at Poway. It's really helped me because you don't have to be there as long every day. You get out at 2:30 or 2:40, and I've made up a lot of credits since then. I would like to thank Alan for having me here to speak today. I'd like to thank my mom for driving me back there somewhere. And I would like to thank Kim, the librarian, for helping me edit Alan's terribly written speech and helping me practice it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Joey, for rolling with our issues, and thank you for everything you said. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm sure it's much improved over your principal's poor attempt. All right, how about now the Del Norte student, I believe is Sonia. Now I've got it right? Yes, okay, come on down.
Okay. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Sonia Singh, and I'm the current ASB president of Del Norte High School. I'm thrilled to be here to share the latest highlights from our school and the exciting activities coming up. As we approach the end of the trimester, our Nighthawks are hard at work preparing for finals week, which is currently underway. To support our students, we've organized college visits during office hours and recently had a Big Ten college visit in our quad on October 17th. For our freshman class, we held a snack and steady session on November 12th to help them get ready for their first finals experience. Additionally, we introduced a Nighthawk tutoring program during office hours to help support students with grades of D or F, with peer counselors assigning tutors to each session, ensuring all students get the help they need. Outside of the classroom, our Nighthawks have had plenty to celebrate and look forward to. Our campus was filled with homecoming spirit in October, from float building to the homecoming dance. Classes competed against each other, participating in the spirit weeks and staying after school to work on our surfing and soaring themed floats, ending with a win for the seniors. In athletics, we've been hosting Fill the Flock events to help bring a student section to various sports such as girls tennis, flag football, field hockey, and water polo. We also had a historic achievement this season. Both boys and girls cross-country teams won the Palomar League championships, with the boys securing the title for the first time in 7 years. Special congratulations to Ayana Shaw and Thea Sharma for winning the CIF Individuals Doubles Championship, and to our girls tennis team, which placed second in the CIF Open Division. This morning, we held signing day where committed athletes were recognized for their accomplishments and made their next 4 years official. We're also looking forward to our winter dance concert along with the Winter Spirit Week and rally activities to wrap up the year on a high note. In addition to these achievements, Del Norte continues to be committed to fostering inclusivity and awareness. Our Bagels and Belonging sessions have provided students with a platform to share their voices on campus improvements, with the 5th meeting scheduled for next Wednesday morning. We also hosted a No Place for Hate pledge signing last Wednesday, showing our school's commitment to inclusivity. Looking ahead, our students are preparing for the Culture Fair on January 24th, a celebration of the many backgrounds that make up our community. Finally, peer counselors are organizing an event on December 10th titled What I Wish My Parents Knew, aimed at bridging communication between students and parents. Our very own Nighthawks will be speaking in the panels, sharing their experiences as they navigated through high school. Thank you for the opportunity to share these exciting updates. We're incredibly proud of our students' hard work, accomplishments, and the positive, inclusive atmosphere they help build here at Del Norte. We look forward to even more great moments to come.
Thank you, Sonia. And from Bernardo Heights Middle School, Ranak. Welcome.
Just making sure. So, good evening, everyone. I'm Ronak Mundal, ASB President of Bernardo Heights Middle School, and today I'm going to share what has happened so far in our school and what is coming next. So, on August 12th, we held a Leadership Development Day, where several schools from the SD County came to learn how to be strong leaders before school started. We hosted a tours and team building on August 15th and 16th, which is essentially a campus tour. We invited over 500 new BHMS students to get acquainted with our school and meet new faces before school began. This year, the first day of school was a little bit different. Instead of what we do normally, we spent the whole day with our Bobcat classes to build community through team building activities. We also held our Welcome Back Assembly and kicked off the year by sharing our school culture and spirit competition to welcome old and new Bobcats. In order to go over the protocols of safety and expectations in our school, we had a safety week where students experienced fire drills, earthquake drills, and lockdown drills. After the day of Club Rush, which is where all the clubs gathered together and promoted each other, we ended up with more than 35 different student-run clubs, which is amazing, especially compared to last year. During the weekend of October 12th and 13th, a lead camp was hosted by Rotary, and 2 students, including myself, went to the camp to learn more about how we can lead and help our community and school. On October 18th, the book fair, Bobcat Bash, and movie night was hosted by ASB, Band and Drama Boosters, and PTSA. We worked collectively to create a community event that brought the parents and students together as a Bobcat family. On the same day, our cross-country runners participated in the Mount Sac Run, and our 7th graders placed 3rd place overall, which is, yeah, it's wonderful. During the month During the month of Spooktober, our orchestra, band, drama, and choir held the Zombie Apocalypse, a 3-day event full of scares and wonderful music. ASB held the first school dance of the year, Lost in the Rainforest, and over 300 students attended to enjoy our concessions, club activities, and our DJ. On November 5th, many students got to enjoy Step It Up's Day of Awesomeness. Students and families raised enough money for ASB to continue to put on fun and inviting activities, such as dances, movie nights, and spirit parties. Lots of activities were also held to commemorate our military, like flag raising, veterans cards from the BHMS CJSF team, and a luncheon for military families in school, which actually happened today. A food drive is currently being held in BHMS by ASB, so students can donate food to the North County Food Bank. Tomorrow is our 32nd annual Turkey Trot Assembly, where some of our school's fastest students will participate in a race. Our BHMS Math Olympiad team is going to start taking tests from next week once each month until the end of March. We will also be having a Science Olympiad competition during the month of February. We are overjoyed that we were granted permission for all grades to go on field trips. I'm personally also really excited, especially for Knott's Berry Farm for the 8th graders and Medieval Times for the 7th graders. Yeah, I believe that's all. Thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to share what has happened in our school and what we hope to achieve in the future.
All right, Ronak, I can tell by your enthusiasm why you were elected student body president there. Fantastic. I need to get over to Bernardo Heights soon. From Sundance Elementary, I think their last speaker just showed up, so they were all excited over here. Luke, and Lulu, welcome.
Hello, Mr. Mizell and members of the Poway Board of Education. We are 5th graders from Sundance Elementary School representing our character ambassadors.
My name is Luke Benton.
Hello, my name is Lulu Salazar Garcia.
Hi, my name is Luke Ramundo.
We are here this evening to share about Sundance Elementary School and the variety of student leaderships and club opportunities we have that help create our inclusive and positive school environment.
In addition to Safety Patrol, Peace Patrol, No Place for Hate, Hope Squad, and Character Ambassadors, our school also offers chess club, musical theater, choir, kangaroo math, and Lego robotics club.
Lulu and I are both in musical theater. Luke B is in the backstage crew. Musical theater is a fun after-school program where you can sing, act, and perform a play at the end of the school year.
Even if you don't enjoy the spotlight, you can join our backstage crew, and instead of being in the spotlight, you can shine the spotlight on someone else and work as a team. Musical theater develops confidence and creativity.
Luke B and I are both in Safety Patrol. The purpose of Safety Patrol is to help keep pedestrians safe when crossing. Safety Patrol has many responsibilities. You have to get at school before 7:10, you have to make good choices while out on patrol, and you have to show great responsibility when adult supervision isn't there. To succeed in Safety Patrol, you must learn how to compromise with your fellow peers, gain trust from adults, and ensure the safety of peers crossing.
Peace Patrol is another program offered at Sundance. Peace Patrollers are 4th and 5th graders who go to TK through 3rd playgrounds during recess to help students deal with conflicts peacefully and help them find friends if they are lonely. You have to be patient and understanding. It helps out the yard duties because they don't have to cover everything by themselves. The younger kids after a while start to come to the Peace Patrollers and ask for help. It helps support positive interactions and helps kids not feel left out or lonely.
Choir is an after-school program just like musical theater. Members of the choir sing for our school at the Winterfest, which is coming up on December 6th from 5 to 7:30. If you are interested, please stop by. If you feel more confident singing in a group instead of singing or speaking alone, I recommend joining the Sundance Choir. Choir improved my voice, timing on the beats I sang, and encourages teamwork.
Thank you for listening to us share about the great clubs and groups Sundance has to offer. These opportunities help build a well-rounded and positive school culture. Thank you to the board for supporting these opportunities, and we appreciate the chance to share.
Thank you all. Wonderful job. When you get your musical theater show ready for the public, let us know. I love musicals, my favorite thing. Thank you guys for sharing. Okay, we already got the date. Fantastic. Thank you all so much. We're moving through the agenda. You are more than welcome to hang around, or you can take this opportunity. I'll go slowly for a 15, 30-second pause while you guys exit. Have a wonderful evening. I know Del Norte's got to get to final studying. Not our student board member. She can't leave, but... Thank you so much again for being here. This brings us to 4.2, our public comments. If you would like to address the board, please fill out a public speaker request and submit it to Ms. Anderson before the agenda item is called. Speaking time is limited to 2 minutes per speaker with a maximum of 30 minutes total. I don't think we're anywhere near that at the moment, so reminder, if you have concerns regarding specific individuals, it's preferred you refrain from naming them publicly. The appropriate complaint process can be obtained again from Ms. Anderson. The board will not allow any disturbance or willful interruptions of our meeting. We have an expectation that everyone here will conduct themselves with decorum, respect, and civility. So with that in mind, Clerk Couvrette, please call the first speaker.
Okay, first up is Aruna Rajan.
Hello, my name is Aruna. I'm here to address a serious issue involving my daughter at Sunset Hills Elementary in December 2023. I filed a uniform complaint procedure, a report, and she experienced inappropriate and discriminatory behavior from her teacher. And although the district completed the investigation by February 2024, we found the process to be highly biased. And we felt like, we were dismissed and unheard. This investigation overlooked critical aspects of my daughter's mental health and emotional well-being. Contrary to the district's responsibilities under the child find law, which mandates proactive steps, she was ignored, and the incident kind of left my daughter suffering from significant mental distress and drop in self-confidence and decline in her academic performances. Yet her emotional needs were not addressed during the investigation. I urge the board and the district administration to review this case and implement policies ensuring that future investigations give serious consideration to the psychological impact on students. Thank you.
I think if we have your contact information, we'll definitely refer staff to that, so someone will be in contact with you. Thank you.
Dr. Nora Safa.
Shall we start? Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this comment. My daughter attends Park Village Elementary School, and I wanted to make a comment about a phenomenon that I've observed happening in the public schools across the district, which is the fun runs, about the fun runs. There is a company named Apex Leadership Co. which has been implementing these fun runs across the schools in the district. And even though I do understand the need for outsourcing this activity because all of the families, including our own, are busy, the way it's been implemented has some issues which I'm concerned about. So what has been happening is that during a regular school day, during an entire week, every single day, they would take the students out of their regular curriculum, regular class, to attend this activity that is run by this company in a curriculum which we have not been told that the curriculum has been vetted. They call them character building activities. And through those sessions, they try to encourage character virtues such as resilience, grit, not quitting, being respectful and kind to others. And all of those are fantastic character attributes which we all strive for our children to have. However, the problem is that at the end, they urge and encourage them to go and ask for pledges, for funds. And for those who get those pledges from their families and friends, the day after they're given a prize. And the kids who did not bring those pledges would not get that prize. And then the problem is that the kid will mistakenly associate the reason for not getting the prize with character virtues. And not everyone has equal opportunities for fundraising. And the approach does not seem equitable and does not seem to have been vetted from a psychological standpoint and educational standpoint because it involves the child's reward system. So those are my concerns about this practice.
Okay, thank you to our public commenters. That concludes our public comment. Item 4.3, wow, I was not prepared to move on this quickly. Okay, let me get myself together here. 4.3, approve resolution number 28-2025, authorizing and providing for the issuance of not to exceed $70 million of 2025 general obligation refunding bonds of School Facilities Improvement District number 2002-1 of the Poway Unified School District, prescribing the terms of sale for such bonds, authorizing execution and delivery of an official statement for such bonds, approving a bond purchase agreement, a continuing disclosure certificate, and authorizing execution and delivery thereof, approving certain documents and agreements, making certain findings and determinations, and taking related actions. And that is the kitchen sink right there. Mr. Magnuson.
Well, thank you very much. A long title indeed. As the board's aware, we're here to propose refunding the outstanding bonds, as alluded to in the title, from School Facilities District 2002-1 for the purpose of reducing obligations to local taxpayers for payment of those outstanding bonds. We're pleased to have key members of our finance team with us today, including Ray Alsbach, who is PUSD's Director of Capital Planning, who's coordinated the district's work to support the proposed refunding. Also with us is Nora O'Brien, attorney with Chapman & Cutler LLP, PUSD's bond counsel, who has prepared Resolution 28025 on behalf of the district, and who just sat down in front of you, Mr. Adam Bauer, who is President and CEO of Feldman Rolap & Associates, the district's municipal advisor, who will provide an overview of the proposed refunding and respond to any questions you may have. Welcome, Mr. Bauer. Ready to get started.
Great, thank you. And just want to take one moment to acknowledge Jen Bustamante, who helped prepare a lot of the materials that we have this evening. So she's also here. What we're looking at is a potential refunding of $62,630,000 in par amount of bonds. That was originally a higher amount, which I'll show you in a moment, but that's what's remaining outstanding. The rest of that has been paid off by taxpayers over a number of years. So if we advance to the next slide, please. What we're focused on this slide is policy 7210, which focuses on refundings and looking to take advantage of those. You've done this many times, so we didn't bring a whole policy in front of you this evening, but this is a transaction that fits within that policy, and so we're bringing this one forward to you. And this one actually has a very limited time that it works, and I'll show you why that is. But next slide, please. So a lot of charts on this slide, and the charts kind of look pretty benign. If you kind of experience the day-to-day of it, it seems like it's moved around a lot more than this. But to the far left there is that MMD, the municipal market data. I've told you this is like the Dow Jones Industrial Average of municipal bonds. So all tax-exempt bonds kind of benchmark off of this. But the other thing I've told you is if you just want to monitor this away from meetings like this, you could generally track the 10-year Treasury and get a sense for how things are moving. So what we did there is we listed a 10-year Treasury. Also, when I show you some of the numbers, I benchmark it to those 10-year Treasury marks there. Next slide, please. So on this slide here, what we're showing is kind of how this has changed over time. And so you can see here, even though those charts didn't look like there was a lot of movement, even little movements have a big impact on interest rates and what it can do in savings. So right there in the middle, you see 9/24/2024. To the right of that, you see as of 10/30/2024, and that was really when we were trying to get things ready for your agenda deadline. If you look at that 10-year Treasury, I'm sorry, I'm going to get to that in the next slide. But you can see how savings have changed over time. But one of the things I want to highlight is the percentage of savings. So in a lot of cases, I would tell you if that number got to 4% or below, we probably want to stop right about there. I think this one is a little bit different, and maybe the number should be 3.5 because it's such a limited window. But we'll get to that in a moment. I'll explain how those tie, and I'll refresh your memory on the point that I made there. Next slide, please. So as far as the executive summary goes, we're really kind of going over a few of the same things, but these bonds became callable August 1, 2024. So when I talked about a limited window, that August 1, 2024, and these bonds mature in 2030. So it's very rare that you have like a 6-year period we actually get to refinance these bonds. And then within that, every 6 months that you don't do it, you lose 1/12 of the potential savings that you can get. And so that's why this one's relatively unique, where even when rates aren't particularly low, it still does present a good opportunity for you. Down below, I've already highlighted some of the savings that I've talked about on a prior slide. I've talked to you too that while gross savings are important, always looking at what you get on a net present value basis, that's important. In this case, those numbers aren't too far apart. And that's because we're only present valuing from 2030 till today. In many cases, we're present valuing that for 20 years for you, just not in this case. Next slide, please. And so on this slide, what we're showing is what the prior bonds, the last time a board took an action, or the original time it took an action, there was $100 million worth of bonds. But that amount's been paid over a number of years, where now there's only 66.34, and we show you there some of the call features. One of the things I think is important is these bonds get called with no premium. So you're not paying investors to take the bonds away from them. You're just paying the par amount of bonds, or the amount of bonds that they hold from them. To the far right, I told you I'd talk about the 10-year Treasury and how it's moved. About halfway down there in white, it says the 10-year Treasury is at 4.29. It's actually ticked up a little bit, but came down today, where it's at 4.41. And so that's really moved around quite a bit since Election Day, a whole lot, but even before that. And then at the bottom there, I'm showing you that 5.11 again. Once again, because of that short time frame, if you look above, I should have mentioned this, 8/1/2030 is the final maturity. Because of that short time frame, I think you should consider giving staff the authority to move forward with this as long as we hit a 3.5 benchmark on that. And if we don't, we just wait. And if we wait too long, then we have to come back for your approval because the documents have changed. But if not, we have a period of time where we can come back and refund these should rates decline. But 3.5 or above, I think this one would be worth moving forward with. Go to the next slide, please. Here we're trying to show you some of the savings. To the far left, a lot of numbers, but it takes, you have the fixed costs associated with doing this. We highlight those. When you see a slugs purchase, that's basically investing in really safe securities to repay the old bonds. To the far right there, what we're highlighting is the savings. And so you really see savings in 24, 25, because we're too late to get on 24, on 25. And that light blue are the savings. In this case, we just took it pro rata. Sometimes we've done deals with you where we say, let's pay it off early. Your whole special tax reduction plan has a lot to do with that. But when it came to these GEO bonds and kind of the limited amount of years we have, really we thought the pro rata approach was the best opportunity for you here. Now I'm going to show you what this means in a moment to your taxpayer. That kind of just looks like bars on a chart, but on the next slide, we show you, well, give me one more slide. One of the things we've always done in Poway is show your cost of issuance, and this has come down tremendously. You've hired new team members and really moved away from a very high cost structure to, when you look at this, I'd say it's a very good fee structure. And to the far left there, we've also shown you this for every transaction we do, and some of the good faith estimates, but also kind of what that debt costs to the taxpayer. So for example, that last bullet point here, for every $1 borrowed to refund, the taxpayers are repaying $1.18. That's a pretty low repayment rate. That's taken a number of refundings along the way to get there and shortening the maturities, but that's where you're at now if you were to move forward with this. Next slide, please. Okay, so here's our summary of our schedule, and I'm sorry, there's a slide that I have that I did not have in the presentation, and I really wanted to highlight some of those savings. And so a typical home assessed value within your community is $614,626. Please don't laugh at me. That's because of Prop 13. I know you can't buy a house for that. That is the assessed value. That's what the tax is on a tax roll. When you use that value of a home over the course of the next several years between now and 2030, there's $60.75 savings for that home. This is very low compared to the CFDs or things like that, and that's because this is spread across so many homes. Whereas a CFD, we're talking 300, 400, 500 units. This is spread across all the homes within your community. But each average home or typical home within your community would save $60.75 between now and 2030. Starts off very slow. The first year, 8 cents. It goes up to $14.57 in 2030 with our current assumptions. So now finally on our last slide here, just highlighting the potential schedule. The item is before you this evening. We're currently in a process of getting a rating, and then we would, should all that move forward, we would then post that preliminary official statement, which is a disclosure document for investors to look at this and decide whether they want to purchase these bonds. And then we'd have that pricing December 12th. This is really the last week we can get in 2024. And then finally, we'd close the transaction and have it all done. And then shortly after that, the results would be reported back to the board with a summary of the costs. And so those are all the slides that we have prepared, but our team, you have both your bond counsel and your district special advisor here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Bauer. I appreciate it. I passed a question down the line here. I'm wondering if we have an answer yet. Not yet?
Yeah, we'll look
Okay,
that up.
not yet. That
We'll
was
get back
too
to you on
fast.
that.
But so to summarize again, we're going to refinance $62 million-ish to save our taxpayers somewhere around $3.5 million.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fantastic. Questions? All right, so my question was regarding our board policy. I know that our board policy has some requirements about what kind of savings requirements we have to have in order to move forward with a refinancing, refunding like this. And I want to make sure that that 3.5% net present value savings that you mentioned is somewhere in there, and that's still within our range that we allow on our board policy, and someone's looking for it right now.
Yeah. I believe the policy was you would initiate at a 5% threshold and not do it unless you could achieve 3%. But I'm operating off of memory on that. I'm not 100% positive on that.
If that's correct, then we're in the zone.
That's right.
I'm looking for it because I'm not excited to do this until I know that we're in compliance with our own board policy.
Well, you're giving authorization today, and I can assure you will not execute it if it doesn't follow policy or if it doesn't come out positive for the district.
Fantastic. Thanks for saving us from waiting. I
Very good.
appreciate that, Mr. Magnuson. That given, are there any questions? Is there a motion then?
Motion.
Thank you. On a motion by Dr. Seitzma,
I'll second.
a second by Ms. Couvret. We'll start down at the end, Ms. Kiley. All right, and everyone else, all in favor? Aye. All right, we like saving our taxpayers' money, so that's unanimous, 5-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, 5.1 is approval of our consent calendar. And I know we have a couple of things here, but let me note the first one to pull is, let's see, 5.4D is being pulled by staff. We're going to pull one of those updated board policies, so we'll just consider some of them, but not all of them. That's why staff is pulling that one. Anything else to pull? I'll start down at the end. Ms. Kiley? No?
I want 5.5A.
5.5A?
Yes.
Thank you.
And we have a speaker, so 5.3A.
5.3A? No? Okay, absent those three, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. On a motion by Dr. Seitzma,
second.
second by Ms. Plotsky. All in favor? Aye. All right, that one's unanimous as well. Thank you. So let's go to 5.3A. This is approval ratification of our contractual services report number 04-2025. Mr. Magnuson.
We have pulled the calendar. Is there a specific item? 5.
Let's have a speaker first, yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Sorry, Lenise, thank you for coming up.
In this month's CSR, there's a line item for 2023-2024 new contracts. A Trans Family Support Services MOU, year 2 of 3, in the amount of $18,000 is listed for board approval. It's not new. It was signed 17 months ago by the prior Associate Superintendent of LSS, Carol Osborne, just before she retired. Before you vote, I have concerns about the terms, validity, and necessity of the MOU being submitted 4 months into this school year. In January of 2023, Kathy Molig shared at a JEDI meeting that they were not scheduled for training at a few schools. Have you confirmed that TFSS fulfilled all their responsibilities under their prior MOU, and have you seen the collaboration results? Starting so late in this school year, would they be able to fulfill responsibilities noted? Did TFSS provide students, parents, and staff with support and resources at any point in the 23-24 school year, and were they paid for it? If so, were they doing this without board approval? If not, why would you approve a document that shows an effective date for a prior school year signed by prior leadership almost a year and a half ago? With all the resources available for students, is this necessary or the most responsible way to spend funds while facing an unprecedented multi-year budget crisis? Don't forget the secret JEDI notes that reflect a TFSS rep mentioning a target age group of 3 to 5 and stating a casual, subtle weaving in of topics can help plant a seed. Considering PUSD's loss of enrollment, maybe it's time to reconsider where you're directing funds. Thank you.
Questions, comments from the board?
I'd like to address that one as well. So I actually prepared a little bit. So I'm going to read what I wrote, and then we can kind of go from there, because I put some thought into it. So, because I really appreciate the passion, dedication that Kathy and Evan, and I really acknowledge and that they have supported a lot of families. I also want to ensure that our teachers and staff treat everyone with respect and understanding, and of course, adhere to our laws and ed code. That said, kind of as Lindy said, it seemed that with our own staff, we should be able to provide this training, and then also we would be able to control the amount of time spent on this as well as the messaging. I attended a training session a couple years ago, as well as 2 evening sessions of them. So I spent a lot of time seeing them in action, and I believe that they are a wonderful resource for our counselors and psychiatrists to be aware of and provide to families seeking support. But that said, I don't support this contract. So as far as, I'd love to have discussion on this, because I don't know where we are in this contract of what we can do. Regarding the rest of this 5.3A, I approve everything except for this line item. I'm looking for your thoughts on this and how we can discuss it, or if you just vote on that one payment, or what we can do.
Any other board members want to weigh in on this one? I'm trying to formulate a solution here, but before I do, I want to give everyone else an opportunity to weigh in if you choose to. Okay, I'm not seeing anybody jumping in.
Well, are we
Ms.
already,
Watts.
it's a signed contract that we're already in the middle of, correct?
We are in year 2.
There's a
of
signed
this.
agreement that was originated last year, yes.
So, I mean, do we really have, what is the option of getting out? Isn't there a penalty of not fulfilling the contract? I mean, we've already received payment, services for the 1.5 years.
You make a valid point, Dr. Seitzman.
And can you go into any further depth? I know Ms. Seacrest provided us with some background information as to what all this contract is covering.
We have a copy of the MOU, the signed MOU, that we can certainly forward to the board, or I can certainly read it to you if you'd like. There is, I've noticed, not a termination agreement within the MOU, so any early termination of the contract, I'm sure, would have to be negotiated.
So that brings me to a fundamental question. When we vote for these items in general, what are we voting for or against if we really can't get out of the contracts that we've already committed to? I'm sorry, I'm just kind of jumping in going, why are we voting on 5.3A?
It did not come to the board previously to be voted on.
Okay.
It does exceed the $15,000 limit in total for 3 years. And so to have the approval, given that it's a 3-year contract, above the $15,000 maximum is the reason it's before the board.
I do think you make a good point about having our own staff trained to train other staff members when necessary in this area. I don't know that we currently have staff who are equipped to do that. I would posit that part of this contract could be to create that capacity in our own staff, but they need to be trained first before we can do that. And year over year, do we need to make this the eternal contract? No. I agree with you on that. It would be very nice to have this internal capacity to train staff when they need it, because clearly this serves a group of students who have special needs that our staff doesn't automatically intrinsically know what to do and how to what those circumstances are. And there are special issues, and there is state law on this as well. So I know we are compliant with state law in the training. And this may be part of it, and it may be above and beyond, I'm not positive. But making our own staff able to do that training, I think has to be the goal of this contract. I agree with you on that.
Well, so here's a question. You were saying how we have to renegotiate the MOU if we didn't pass this. Could that be part of a renegotiation with that MOU? Is that part of their process for the next year and a half, is to ensure that we are training certain staff, identified staff members, to be able to carry this forward? Would you be willing to pull it to be able to renegotiate that as part of the approval process? Or no, I don't, the feasible, where we are on it, I haven't read that MOU, so.
I am never in favor of breaching a contract that we're already in the middle of. And I think to make light of that and just say we renegotiate isn't necessarily true. We might owe the entire amount, no matter what. I think that's highly likely, or more, for damages. I wouldn't want to speculate too much, but you can't just break a contract, or what's the point of a contract? You owe the money. You have to pay damages if you get out of a contract. I think the value is here. I think that we can ease out of the contract like this as long as we can make our own people prepared to do this training. We can't just quit training people. We have a student population that needs our staff to know what to do.
Absolutely.
I do think we're in a little bit of a pickle here. We should have been asked to approve this last year, and we were not. But that doesn't change that we're in the middle of a contract. That's my perspective.
I agree. So I appreciate that perspective as the lawyer of the group. I do appreciate that.
I do not
because-
represent the district, though,
No,
so.
no, but that is very true. The last thing I'd want is if it's end up costing us more, or to make there be issues going forward. But I would like there maybe be a conversation moving this forward, that they understand our expectations, and maybe that we can both be a win-win situation and our staff benefits from it, so.
I would like to follow up on Ginger's point of finding out what is being done, though, and have some kind of accountability of what are they doing and where are they doing it and how much is getting done of the contract. As Greg said, he has a copy of the contract, so that would fall under Shelley, correct? Because that's who who Shelley replaced, signed the contract. She made the policy. So what are they doing? And I think that should be reported back to us, so we know what is happening with this.
I can respond to that. We have training scheduled for this current school year, pending approval of this contract.
With students or staff?
With staff, so
Okay,
that our
so-
staff is equipped and has the information so that they can support the students.
Okay, so does that fulfill your question, Mark?
We're in the middle of a contract, so.
Right, but you wanted staff trained, so that it is staff being trained.
So it's staff being trained on how to respond properly to the kids. It's not staff being trained on how to teach other staff. So that was where I was going originally, was that possibility. Be great to get them to be actually trainers so that we can make this an internal thing versus paying the exterior money, and that's not the case, correct?
Not for these services. It's not a trainer of trainer models with trans family support services. However, they do make themselves available should we have questions. However, there's a recent Ed Code 218.3, which requires that LEAs provide training for staff members beginning July 2025 for a minimum of an hour for 5 concurrent years. So it goes through 2029. We have scheduled 3 of our staff members to attend training with San Diego County Office of Education in December, so that we will be prepared to fulfill that requirement.
Thank you, that's wonderful, thank you.
So circling back to kind of my question, can we kind of get a sense of when it says provide support and resources, what that looks like?
So one of our, and I can let Mr. Magnuson speak to some of the details in the contract. I don't have it in front of me, but I can give you an example. So we have gender identity plans for students who have an identity, have indicated an identity different than the gender assigned at birth. And so for those students and for that plan, Trans Family Support Services provided consultation and support as we developed that document in support of our students. That's an example of how they make themselves available as a resource.
And when you say makes themselves available,
We can reach out to them. We can call them. We can schedule Zoom meetings with them. They're available by telephone. They will come in and meet with us.
I can also share with you, they support our GSA clubs on a number of our campuses. They meet and support our club advisors. They also meet with student groups and their families, providing support and resources. And they've done this for a decade or longer. So they meet on our high school campuses. They're at all of our high school campuses and at several of our middle schools.
The support work is important. They've been good partners for years. This contract, I feel like this is kind of like a make-up vote. Because we are in the middle of it, and we should have voted at the beginning of it. I would be in favor of moving through this. They have been great partners, and they have been a great resource for our families and our students. I think they have been very open over time to an evolving relationship with the district, and I don't think that what you're suggesting and what we're kind of all suggesting would be anathema to what the services that they are wanting to provide. Their main point is to make sure our students are supported. I don't think that they're going to be opposed to us creating some capacity within our own personnel to cover that, because they can't cover everything. They're not on our campuses, and people who are better equipped to meet those immediate needs of our students. So I don't see them as ever being against something that's going to be better for our students. I think what you're suggesting, I agree with. I think it's, how much more do we want to talk about this before we craft a solution? That's what I'm looking for. Let's craft a solution. Let's craft a motion on this one. But we can keep talking if we're not through it. I don't want to cut off discussion. I'm looking down the line.
I'm comfortable making a motion, just bringing attention to that, and just as we are thoughtful before, discussions for another contract comes up, that we spend a little more time in creating another agreement before we get to this point when we're kind of in the middle of it. So that's my motion, is to approve 5.3A.
In its entirety at this point.
Correct.
Taking into account everything that the board has kind of asked and moved down the aisle to our cabinet
Okay, so
and staff.
so I guess we can still talk. I don't see how what we said is going to change passing this. I think that staff understands that we had some really good conversation, and I appreciate the support and thoughtfulness of it. That I think moving forward, I think that we'll be able to make everyone happy and also support our children and make sure we're in compliance with the law.
Okay, so I hear a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. So on a motion by Ms. Couvret and a second by Ms. Plotsky. Any further discussion on this item? Okay, and we will follow up just to make sure you guys heard what we were saying. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay, that is unanimous. Thank you. 5.4D is the approval of updated board policies within the 5,000 and 6,000 series. Staff has asked to pull, there are 4 board policies listed here, and staff has asked to pull 5145.3 for some further revisions. So any motion here would be just on the other 3 board policies to approve 5144.1, 6152.1, and 6163.4. Are there questions on that? I'm sure we'll see that one they're pulling back in another month or 2, but a few more revisions apparently. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. A motion by Ms. Couvret. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. And a second by Dr. Seitzma. Any questions or discussions on this one? All right, all in favor? Aye. All right, that's unanimous. Our last one pulled by Ms. Plotsky is number 5.5A, approval of the 2024-2025 Special Education Community Advisory Committee members. I'll throw this to Mr. Mizell first, and then we can go back to you.
So this is requesting the board to take action and approve the 2024-2025 Special Education Community Advisory Committee officers and members. The board appoints annually this group of parent volunteers. You'll recall that they're tasked with advising the Board of Education on the priorities of the special education local plan area. So I bring this slate before you and ask for your support.
All right, I'll go to Ms. Plotsky for your comment.
I just wanted to bring up, besides what they are legally required to do, this group of volunteers, which this year we have more than 18, I wanted to recognize their dedication and their hard work. They put tirelessly hours each year into our special needs community for the families, which make up approximately 16% or more of our district, and helping our parents with special needs. They reach out to them, and I just wanted to make sure it wasn't overseen, because this is a group that parents should be able to go to and reach out to if they need help and assistance. And if parents are listening tonight, you don't see this board, they have a page on our website. So I just didn't want it to get bypassed in consent, and which sometimes gets overlooked. So I wanted to acknowledge their service.
Oh, thank you for bringing attention to them. They do really important work in the district, and it's a lot of work. And you're right. Thank you. Thank you for bringing attention to that. With that, would you like to make the motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Thank you. On a motion by Ms. Plotsky, is there a second?
Second.
A second by Dr. Seitzma. All in favor? Aye. All right, that passes unanimously as well. Thank you. 6.1 is student academic calendars 2025, 2026, and 2026, 2027. Mr. Jimenez.
Thank you, President O'Connor Radcliffe. At the October 10th board meeting, we presented to you as a first reading the drafts of the academic calendars for the next 2 school years, 2025-26 and 2026-27. This evening, this agenda item is presented to you for final approval. The 2 drafts reflect 180 student attendance days, legal holidays and district recess periods, and the first day of school in both school years is in mid-August. The primary driver that I mentioned last month for the mid-August start date is the ongoing changes to the CalPADS reporting timelines For example, the final timeline to report graduation data has moved up from what used to be the very end of July to now June 30th. And that impacts the data that we report, that is presented and reported via the California dashboard regarding our graduation rates, dropout rates, and so forth. Most districts like ourselves have been adjusting their start dates and their end dates to their school years to be able to have sufficient time to report by the end of June each school year. These calendars were created and reviewed by a calendar committee, which included representatives from both of our unions, as well as district management and staff. Upon the approval of the academic calendars, we will still engage in conversations with our unions regarding the impacts and effects to the start of the work year dates for our employees as a result of these calendars. They're presented to you for final approval.
Thank you, Mr. Jimenez. I'd also note that there's one non-student day that's to be determined by each elementary and middle school to do their own thing. I do note that our new attendance dashboard, I hope, will inform schools about which dates they're picking, because we have some dates where attendance falls pretty low. So if they would pick those days, that'd be really helpful for our ADA. So again, just going to throw that your way for their consideration as they move to pick those dates. Any questions or comments from other board members? No, is there a motion? Oh.
So just to kind of refresher, so because the state is requiring districts to have their dashboards updated by June 30th, it's an expectation that our dates are moved up? So, or?
No, the state hasn't presented it in that way, but the impact of that earlier timeline will certainly adversely affect our graduation rates data versus our dropouts for those seniors who complete their credit recoveries during the month of June. In the past, we had until end of July to report that data so that those students could be included in the 4-year cohort graduation rates. If we don't meet those timelines on June 30th, students in those situations could fall into a 5-year cohort in terms of our reports.
And this needs to go into motion next school year?
This
not
become, yes,
putting it off?
the
'Cause I know
deadline.
a lot of people have already set their 2025 summer vacation plans, and now they're gonna have to revisit that.
This will be the end of the 25-26 school year, so the reporting deadline will be June 30th of 2026 for that first year of the 2 years that are on the agenda tonight.
Right, but this is adjusting the 25, right?
The 25,
We normally
26.
start the third Wednesday, and now they're starting the second
Wednesday, so that we can have ample time for staff to complete all the reporting that will be needed prior to June 30th, 2026.
I don't love this.
All right, now, yeah, we can blame the state. I already threw some mud their direction last month on this. Yeah, I agree. Yes, Ms. Kiley.
Maybe this doesn't make sense, but if this year is 2024 to 2025, and this calendar is starting August of 2025, which would be this upcoming school year, and their starting date is a week earlier, would that affect when how long the summer is from 2025's end date of this school year to when that, so would it be 1 week shorter? Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
So, Mr. Mizell is whispering in my ear, it's the same number of school days. It just gets, the vacations are getting shifted, though. So still 180 school days. Yeah. Yeah, no fun. Welcome to the meeting, Dr. Patel. Who would like to make a motion on this one? Thank you,
I'll
Ms.
approve.
Couvret. I hear you. All right, she's making a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank
'cause
you.
It's better than this year's.
Thank you, Ms. Plotsky. So it's a motion by Ms. Couvret, a second by Ms. Plotsky. All in favor, and I'm going to start down at the end. Thank you. And everyone else?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously, 6-0. Thank you. 6.2, initial proposal for contract negotiations from the Board of Education to the Poway Federation of Teachers, 2025-2026. Mr. Jimenez.
Thank you, Madam President. Currently, we have a 3-year contract agreement with the Poway Federation of Teachers that ends on June 30th, 2026. Under Government Code Section 3547, the presentation and adoption of the district's proposal for contract negotiations is a 2-step process. This proposal allows the parties to open what we refer to as reopener negotiations because we are in a current 3-year contract. This evening, this item is presented as information only for initial review and public knowledge. The initial proposal will be presented on the December 17th board agenda for a public hearing and final adoption and approval by the board. The initial proposal allows the parties to negotiate and open those discussions after final approval in December, as I said earlier, for reopener negotiations, which are a limited number of articles versus opening the entire contract.
Thank you,
The initial
Mr.
proposal is attached for your review.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jimenez. Are there questions? Since this is a first reading, this is a non-voting item. Ready to move on? Speak now? Nope, all right, moving on. Thank you. 6.3, submittal of annual workers' compensation self-insurers report to the State Office of Self-Insurance Plans. Mr. Jimenez.
Thank you, President O'Connor Ratcliffe. The Education Code and Labor Code require that staff report annually the totals workers' compensation liabilities and determine whether our current funding of those liabilities is compliant under the Government Accounting Standards Board, GASB 10 as they refer. The self-insurer's annual report was accepted by the State Department of Industrial Relations on October 17th, 2024, and reported a total estimated future liability for all self-insured claims as of June 30th, 2024 of just over $7 million. In addition, the future estimated cost for our self-funded workers' comp liabilities was $751,442 and will continue to decrease over time because this figure represents those liabilities under our self-funded plan, which was prior to 2005. Since July of 2005, the district has been a member of a fully insured program called the Protected Insurance Program for Schools under our JPA, and currently the funding that is set aside for our total liabilities to pay for our workers' compensation long-term liabilities exceeds our projected total future estimations, so therefore we are pleased to inform that the funding for all future liabilities is compliant with the requirements of GASB 10.
Thank you, Mr. Jimenez. The key there being no unfunded liabilities exist at this time. This is an information item, so no vote, but if you have questions, Ms. Potsky.
I wanted to thank Mr. Isa and acknowledge Mr. Isa and Mr. Jimenez for their hard work on these types of issues, knowing that they are very time-consuming and often thankless.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving on, 7.1, approval of the 2023-2024 revised unaudited actuals financial report. Mr. Magnuson.
Yes, thank you. District staff presents the 2023-24 revised unaudited actuals. The district staff reopened the unaudited actuals to make a single cost transfer adjustment that involved transportation aids to maximize potential for state reimbursement and transportation in 24-25. The adjustment had no impact on the general fund balance. There was additional detail provided to the board in Board Journal of October 25th. One time, no bottom line impact, but we want to have it officially approved to move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Magnuson. Any questions on that? Thank you for the explanation again, too, for everyone watching out there. It doesn't say on the green sheet why. Questions, comments? This is an action item. We're back to voting, so who'd like to make a motion?
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I know the answer, but on page 3, when it talks about salaries for unrestricted and restricted, can you please explain the difference?
Oh, sure. So salaries for restricted, unrestricted, and the general fund generally fall down the line. Restricted salaries or restricted costs generally are linked to programs that are typically state funded, and otherwise they have strings, and oftentimes federally funded, but more often state. Unrestricted are discretionary funds of the district that pass through largely from the LCFF calculation and can be used primarily for core functions and main operations of the district.
Yeah, I mean, a little more basic than that, specifically for salaries. I know what you mean, but just so the general public knows.
So on salaries for restricted programs, you'll find programs such as special education, you'll find programs such as maintenance and operations, both of which contribute to contributions on the unrestricted side, but that's where they're initially book kept, is on the restricted side. Your Title I program, Title IV program, Title III, federal programs, those salaries, if there are salaries for those programs, are book kept on the restricted side.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments on this?
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Dr. Patel. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And a second by Ms. Plotsky. Starting down at the end. Thank you, and everyone else, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's 6-0. Thank you. 7.2, approval of the guaranteed maximum price, authorizing Balfour Beatty Construction LLC to proceed with construction and adopting the plans and specifications for the Westview High School expansion project. Mr. Magnuson, this is an exciting one.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much. To begin, first, let me highlight a typo for correction in the board agenda item. You will note that in the second paragraph, second line, under discussion and program, the identified dollar value is $12,698,561. It should be consistent with the dollar value identified under fiscal impact, which is $12,898,561. That was a typo on our part, and we did not catch that coming through. My apologies. Moving on to the item itself, we have a brief presentation for our governing board. Mr. Ruben Arias, the district's director of maintenance of facilities, maintenance, and operations, is here to share with you the Westview expansion program. I'm happy to provide some background on the project as it gets started. On February 8th, 2024, the governing board approved an agreement with Balfour Beatty Construction LLC to enter into a leaseback arrangement agreement for Westview High's expansion project. Phase 1 pre-construction activities have been completed, so we're here before the board. Staff is now here to request that the board consider approval to proceed with Phase 2 construction at the guaranteed maximum price of $12,898,561. Although the GMP, or guaranteed maximum price, is provided is higher than what was originally estimated in February of '24. It reflects additional scope of work for roofing and painting. It is, however, lower than the update that we provided to you in May through the board journal. This project will not impact the district's general fund, as it will be funded entirely from Fund 49, Community Facilities Districts funds, and spread, frankly, across 8 different community facility districts. With that, I'm happy to ask Mr. Arias to provide some detail on the project, and we're here to respond to questions.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. We're excited for this project to be beginning in December. Go to the next slide, Rich. So we'd like to thank the board and Westview admin to collaborating on this project with us, and we're excited for this new building to begin. We'll be located behind our D building currently. So this is kind of just a front-face view of everything that we'll be building. Next slide. This is a look inside of our A101 classroom. It has a motorized roll-up door for the ability to roll projects in and out of the space. Next slide. So this is the east side view of the classroom and restrooms that you see here. We've included seat walls in the design, covered walkways, and ceilings that have a wood design but are actually sheet metal. This project will also incorporate LED lighting throughout. Next slide. So we're looking inside the fabrication shop here. This is high visibility into each space. We'll have access, each room will have access into each space as well. Some of the equipment that we included in this is pull-down reel cords, bandsaws, sawmills, 3D printers. There's also a storage area to the right of this where the fire extinguisher is. It's about 100 square feet for space. Next slide. So this is another inside look from A101. This is a larger space, again with the roll-up door. We're also looking inside to the fabrication shop from this view. Next slide. So this project includes 3 classrooms, a fabrication shop, exterior expanded work area that can also be built it up, also used as an arena for CTE. So, and also support spaces that include custodial closet, an IDF, electrical room, and a set of restrooms as well. Next slide. So we seek approval of the GMP. Wanted to highlight some construction milestones. So December 2nd, where we begin mobilizing with fencing and trailers. Wednesday, December the 4th, construction activities begin. School break, during our winter break, ski week, spring break, summer break, campus-wide painting and roofing will be taking place in phases. We've been working with our site administration as well. We had a walk today, just to kind of go over what fencing is going to look like. We talked with our athletic department on how that's going to impact their events. So we're really excited about this project. December the 5th, we'll have our first pre-construction meeting that will include, again, the same staff that we talked to today, Principal Millard, and our two APs, and our athletic director, Steve McLaughlin. So Wednesday, May 28th, we're building basically just a dry-in install of our roofing materials. November the 5th, we're going to work on some more roofing, and then start over again. School breaks, winter breaks, spring breaks, we're working in phases of roofing, painting. And then May 28th, working on more roofing and finishing up the roofing November 5th of 2025. And finishing final phase condo completion Friday, December the 5th of 2025. So that's kind of it. Next slide. Any questions or anything? It's been a long time coming. I know this is highly anticipated, and we're very excited to be presenting today.
Questions? Yeah.
I do have a question. Looking at this design, I apologize for it not occurring to me sooner. They're high ceilings. There's going to be a lot of noise in this classroom with some manufacturing work going on. Is there any sound insulation?
Yes, we're working with sound installation as well. That came up actually with our admin team.
Okay.
So we're working with them and making sure it's feasible for academics.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
Love it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is absolutely beautiful.
It's a beautiful design.
So I understand this is the guaranteed maximum. There's a joke that you have a boat and a yacht next to each other, and the boat is the original contract, and the yacht is the change order. We do a lot of change orders. Is this the price? Gas is going to be going up, I think, 46 cents a gallon soon.
Mm-hmm.
This is the price?
Yeah, as long as we don't run into any unforeseen things once we go in ground. But yes, this is the price. The price changed, though. It did increase a little bit after DSA. But we're hoping that we minimize change orders.
And then also, just because I'm in the middle of a construction project myself, delays happen. Is there any way to incentivize them to finish on time, or to stick if they're late? Or just because I know that hopefully we'll be putting kids in those classes after the new year, and I want to make sure that they have a place to go to class.
No, we don't anticipate any delays.
Okay.
And the structure you've picked as a lease back for this project basically shifts all of those risks to the contractor. Now, I'm not saying that they're exclusive and that, there's completely locked down, but it is much harder to move change orders beyond the contract price.
So the completion date of this is, I'm not sure of the.
December 5th, 2025.
Right. But I mean, is Westview, are they on the quarter system? Is that the end of the quarters? When do you anticipate being able to actually put
I'm not sure about the academic schedule.
somewhere later? Okay.
More questions, comments? Yes, Ms. Kiley.
I do have a question about, with construction workers moving on and off campus while school's in session and noise, how do you anticipate that that'll affect nearby classrooms or students on campus at the same time?
So we're working with the schedule. So like during, for example, testing, we try to minimize impact. So we either work early or work later, just working with our site admin team.
So you don't anticipate the bulk of construction happening during actual school day hours?
Well, it's going to happen during that actual school day. There's nothing we could do during that time. But if there's, say, an event like testing or anything, we're going to work with the school on hours.
So the same thing was in place for Del Norte when we built those new classrooms at Del Norte or Oak Valley or
Correct.
Stone Ranch?
Correct.
Yeah. At least it's at the back of the school. They'll be bothering people who use the pool more than
Yes.
anybody else.
Yeah, more sound towards that area. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm excited that Westview now will have a space that functions similarly to spaces that already exist at Poway High, and I know at Mount Carmel, maybe our other two high schools already have this space too. So I'm happy to see Westview getting the same. And just to reiterate, this is from our Community Facilities Fund, not our general fund, and it is meant to specifically, I'm leaving a fill in the blank, but I can fill it in if you want me to. That was a really poorly done fill in the blank, but go for it.
So, yeah, we're not taking anything from the general fund. This is a growing project. It's a sort of expansion, obviously, right? So, yeah, we're not taking from general funds.
And those are limits, legal
There's legal
limits to
limits, yeah,
use
to
of
what we
that
set-
money.
yes, we use
Yes,
these funds,
we
correct.
have to use that for expansion,
Correct. Growth.
in
Primarily to
programs
growth.
and, yes,
Correct.
and enrollment.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Thank you. Any questions on this one?
Can I make a motion to approve?
Sure, Dr.
I've been
Patel.
waiting for this project
All
for
right.
about 6 years.
Is there a second?
A second.
All right, and a second by Ms. Plotsky. I'll start down at the end. Are you in favor or opposed?
I'm in favor.
Thank
All right.
you. And everyone else, all in favor? Aye. And that looks unanimous? Yes, 6-0. Thank you so
All
much.
right, thank you.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much.
Thank
Just to restate that because of the source of the funding through community facilities, districts cannot use the funds for typical maintenance. The funds have to be associated with growth, and we've been able to justify that.
That's exactly what I was dealing with. I was trying to get it with my really poorly done fill in the blank. So thank you for continuing with that. Thank you. And
All
thank
right.
you for the
All right,
presentation.
thank you. Appreciate you guys.
All right, 8.1, adoption of new career technical education courses. This is a first reading. Ms. Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. Tonight, 3 career technical education courses are being brought forward. We have Construction Technology Advanced, The Art of Game Design, and Project Lead the Way Capstone Honors. Each of these courses is aligned to the California State Content Standards and Career Technical Education Model Curriculum, and will be submitted for the University of California A through G approval in the applicable subject areas. A request for formal approval will be made at the December 12th Board of Education meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Peterson. Any questions on these? Yes?
I'd just like to make a comment, because these 3 classes sound so cool. They really are just engaging and innovative, and thank you for bringing them forward, because I think the kids are going to absolutely love them.
I think so, and we really have to thank Lynn McConville and Kathleen Porter in working with, I think they're there in the back, I can't see them, but in working with our site leaders to bring these courses forward. It's very exciting.
And this is a first reading, so no vote, but before I move on, just checking. Anything else? No? All right, thank you. 8.2, adoption of new world language courses. This is also a first reading, so no vote, but tell us more, Ms. Peterson.
All right. So these 2 new language courses being brought forward tonight are done so in an effort to increase and broaden opportunities for students to study world languages. As many are aware, longitudinal research indicates that learning a foreign language can improve memory, logical reasoning, and problem-solving skills, as well as expose students to new cultures. Both courses are offered as a result of community and student interest at the respective schools, and a request for formal approval will be made at the December 12th Board of Education meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Peterson. Questions? Yes?
I have a concern. I know that a lot of universities, you need to have 3 years of a foreign language. Are we going to be able to get enough students to take a 3rd year of Japanese and a 3rd year of Korean when there's other languages also an option for them, from Spanish and French and German and Chinese? I just want to make sure that we can, a kid doesn't get stuck in their junior year. They can't take that 3rd year, but it's too late for them to start over in another language to get that 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That is a great question. And typically, when we start a course of study in languages for students, we're committed to those students being able to complete that course of study. And with language courses, we do see some attrition as students take those courses. That's to be expected, but we work with our administration to plan for that.
Would that be a possibility of if, say, Korean went only to the second year, could we partner with Palomar or another for like a dual enrollment type of opportunity so that they could easily get that third year so they can still be able to apply?
Absolutely. We would do everything we could to support students' completion of language requirements if that third year is a requirement for them.
Okay, great, thank you.
I love this continuation of the languages that we're offering now, the introduction at the elementary level and moving up, and that there is enough demand for these two courses. Just makes me immeasurably happy.
It's very exciting, yes.
Anything else? This is, again, first reading, no vote this month at least. All right, this takes us to 11.1, approval of revised board bylaw 9150. I would turn this over to Mr. Mizell, but I think I'm just going to keep it if it's all the same to you. This board bylaw revision is our board bylaw regarding student board members. It does make some changes to the things that our student board members are allowed to vote on. It reiterates the access that our student board members have to materials that the rest of the board members get, and it does bring our bylaws into compliance with state law, which says that the board can now offer course credit or compensation to a student board member, which was previously prohibited. I did work with Ms. Kiley on this to some degree, and I would love to turn it over to her if she has anything to say. I'm not putting you on the spot, but I sort of am.
It's fine. So obviously, I'm in support of this change to the bylaw. And I've spoken a lot as of late to other California student board members who are enacting changes like this across their districts, and mainly what it comes down to is students, not just student board members, but of course they're the through line to students, to having access to what the board is doing before policies are finalized and brought to review. So students I know do surveys and focus groups on various issues. I know open enrollment is a big one, that surveys with students are important, or curriculum changes or other things like that, where student input before it becomes finalized and brought to the board is super important. And with the way that information is currently presented to the student board member here, I feel like that's really difficult for the student board member to be able to provide those resources to the board and give them that student input. So that's mainly where it comes from for me, where I feel like I should have access to those materials as the same time as the rest of the board so I can provide those resources. And then I think it's worth mentioning that the compensation and the course credit has not been widely adopted across California to this point because, not a lot of boards are in support of such a measure, but where it has been passed is with scholarship. That's where it comes from, or 75% of the compensation that the normal board members receive, or getting a new laptop at the end of the student support terms. That's what I've been hearing from other student board members. It's not directly money, but ways to support the student in further education or support from the district in general. And I also think that it kind of sends a message that the role isn't just symbolic and it has a more material meaning, and student impact and interest is important to the district as a whole. So that's where I stand in support of this entire measure. So, yeah.
And I just want to reiterate that this board bylaw language gives us the option to, at some point, consider some form of compensation for our student board member this year in years down the road, whenever we get to it. This bylaw does not say that we must. It says we may. We may consider doing that. So that's something that we could bring up at a later date.
Yeah.
But that's not for the vote tonight.
I was going to say more broadly, people do course credit options for the student board members for their time that they've spent serving the role. But that's not what's on the table. I just wanted to mention that. Yeah. Thank you.
Any questions or comments from other board members? Well, you are entitled to make a motion, Ms. Kiley. Would you like to make the motion?
I do.
All right, that sounds like the motion to approve from Ms. Kiley. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And a second from Ms. Couvret. With the first vote, Ms. Kiley.
Aye.
Thank you. And everyone else? Aye. I think that passed unanimously, 6-0. Hooray. We'll come back to it. That takes us to 12.0. This is our board member reports, and we'll go to Ms. Kiley again. This is the most you've talked, right? Get a sip. Go.
So this month has been pretty hectic, I know, for a lot of students across the district. For me personally, college applications, Halloween, and now finals week, back to back to back. But it's also been very fulfilling, and I think I've dedicated a lot of my time recently to various district activities and connecting with students. So to start this month, I attended a program focused on meeting protocols and stakeholder engagement, specifically for student board members in California. And it did really open my eyes to my role as a student board member and for students to give me valuable skills, for communicating with our community. And with these tools, I did end up meeting with several students that I connected with at the Superintendent Advisory Council to engage with them about a clearer vision for how to support students across the district. And I also spoke with ASB presidents and other student leaders on our campuses about what they thought was students' biggest challenges. That was a big goal of mine this month, was to really figure that out. And I think most of it came down to, unfortunately, student mental health, which we've seen has been deteriorating not only just in this district, but across the entire country. And specifically here, I've heard many students are struggling with pressures of what they think are predetermined outcomes. They have high expectations of college admissions or academic achievement, or a narrow view of what success looks like. And I think that this is a very cultural issue, not just here, of course, but across the entire country. And there's this ongoing mental strain that I've heard a lot starts from late middle school. So this brought me to think about lots of alternatives. This month I attended the PUSD College and Career Fair, where I had the opportunity to engage with some of these programs that I saw tons of students advocating for, like dentistry or plumbing. There was people from the safari park, which I thought was very cool. I'm interested. And construction opportunities, which I think is great that these are being introduced to our district at the same level of prestige as a normal four-year university, because that's what it's about. And these options really resonated with tons of students that I spoke to there. They were very excited. And currently working with student leaders across the district to hopefully do something to address this problem starting in the late middle school area. Something else that I looked at this month was the student board member bylaws, so just went over that. So hopefully future student board members will feel the result of that. And I want to start being able to run focus groups because of that. I learned that from the program that I attended earlier on how to run something like that. So I would like to do that in the future to get student opinion on even like facilities adjustments. I would love to hear what Westview students have to say about the architecture and stuff. And then finally, I had the pleasure of attending the Unified PE event, which I did with Board President O'Connor Ratcliffe, where I spoke to high school students after I spoke to her about the event, and there was so much enthusiasm at the Del Norte campus. Truly, it was crazy. I saw students enjoying themselves between classes, grabbing food from the cart. I had some, and overall loving the energy. The stadium was packed, truly. It was a lot of people there, and so many people told me that they thought it was a great event and would love to see more of it on the campus, so I just wanted to celebrate that success story within our district of being able to bring together so many students over a great event. So overall, this month has reinforced for me how important it is to expand our definition of student success, and I look forward to continuing this work, and you'll probably hear more about it next month. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My board report tonight will deviate from one of my more typical reports, where I share what activities I've participated in at school sites in the district and on behalf of the district. Mainly because this is my final board report after 8 years of serving on our school and serving our school community in this capacity. The most formative experiences of my own children's public education years have occurred during this time, and so have some transformational changes within our district. We've implemented programs to improve educational outcomes for our students. We've put together a facilities master plan, refunded Melrose, lost a bond campaign, and been through a pandemic. We've increased our behavioral and mental health supports, expanded career and technical education programs, and taken steps to improve our food and nutrition options. there's still a lot of work left to do. Over the past 8 years, our community has shared serious concerns and momentous celebrations. All of these experiences will stay with me as I shift to a new phase of my public service journey. While I know I will miss directly serving our school community as a trustee, I hope that in my new role as your assembly member, I will be able to tackle some of the more pressing, chronic, and seemingly intractable challenges that are facing public education and our communities as a whole. I know it won't be easy since rather than these wonderful colleagues here who I've served with, I'll need to convince 40 other members of the Assembly, 21 in the Senate, and a governor. It's no small task, but a challenge I'm ready to take on. I already miss our meetings together and the pleasure of working together to solve these problems, but I know that the friendships I've made with you will always be there. Finally, to the amazing community of students, parents, staff, organizations, and businesses that I've worked with over the past 8 years on behalf of the district, thank you for sharing your concerns, your ideas, and your support. It's through collaboration that we can make things better for all of us. It's been a true honor and privilege to serve the Poway Unified School District. And with that, I conclude my report.
November is a month for reconciliation, change, and thankfulness. This will be the last time 5 of us will sit together, along with Mr. Mizell as our interim superintendent. I'm grateful and better at my job for having worked so closely with 3 of you. I know our candidates for the open seats are ready for the count to be officially completed. 2 years ago, I sat where you are, especially Area E. Hang in there, you only have 2 more weeks to go. November 7th, D39 held a Project Lead the Way showcase to highlight the outstanding work being done at the site with the K-8 Project Lead the Way curriculum. It was a great attending along with the guests from across Southern California to observe our students actively participating in Project Lead the Way modules. With the significant support from Poway CTE department, it showcased the amazing efforts our students and teachers do every day. I'm looking forward to next week where I will be taking the California Board Association Brown Act class along with the 2024 Live Well in School Summit. And everyone enjoy the end of the month vacation and Thanksgiving, and we'll be back to see you again in December. Thank you.
Okay, we're almost at Thanksgiving vacation. I know some people are a little bit tired right now, so we're just around the corner. Congratulations, Dr. Patel. 2 things, unfunded mandates and increased base funding. I have your cell phone number. So I want to say congratulations to Adobe Bluffs. It was such a fun morning. They're doing so many great things at the school. It's a very positive vibe. The ambassadors from the high school were down there teaching their really cool stories because honestly, kids learn better from them because they're much cooler than we are. I have to say that my favorite part was the jokes, and I'm still laughing at a blushing tomato, and I'll let you go from there. Again, we all attended the PHS Unified Sports at Poway High School. The pride and excitement of the players as they rushed out of the blow-up helmet was only matched by the enthusiasm of the student body cheering them on. It's a fantastic addition to our schools. Thank you so much. I attended the Kitchen Able event and did a little Christmas shopping. If you guys haven't done that, you should. I purchased a lovely resin coaster, yummy jam, and delicious smelling soap. And so many of our community come and support that special needs group, and the kids are so excited about being able to do the money and work in sales and customer service. It's really a fantastic program. Also, congratulations to Kitchen Able and Valley Elementary School for being grant finalists of the first year of the Poway Community Foundation. I can't announce the amounts, but I know they're going to be happy. I just kicked off our 15th year of the Chaparral Thanksgiving Basket Program. I'll give you guys the final results at the next meeting. My kids were there for 14 years. I've been out of it for way too many, but they still let me come in and do this. And usually we raise over $1,200 and service about 35 families. So it's really special what that school is able to pull together. And then finally, I'd like to just say congratulations to Brittany Arnett, Mark Goodman, Wendy Anderson, and the rest of the team that put on a beautiful evening celebrating our teachers, certificated staff, and volunteers of the year. They are the Teachers of the Year and everyone were so worthy of the recognition, and the evening truly highlighted them and was very special. The performances were absolutely amazing, and they really showcased our VAPA programs. So I just wanted to say really well done and thank you for your efforts. And that concludes my board report.
My goodness, it's been quite a month. In terms of education, what a great time to be in civics or AP government. I would love to have sat in on one of these classes, but having these conversations replayed at our dinner table each evening was just as exciting. So many teachable moments. First, for all of our high school students who are in the midst of first trimester finals, best of luck to all of you, and to all of our seniors who are wrapping up their college applications. I know it is a stressful time, but the anticipation of what's next is such an exciting time for all of you and your families. I cannot wait to hear the what's next chapters you will all be embarking on. Like Ms. Couvret mentioned, we were all in attendance at the Unified Championship competition, the first one held in our district between two high schools. I'd like to thank Poway High for hosting this special event, having the cheerleaders, dance team, and band perform for these athletes, and for modifying the school schedule to have the entire student body attend the championship game. To say it was moving was an understatement. I also attended the Thursday gathering at Adobe Bluffs, and like Ms. Couvret said, the ambassadors entertained the young audience and taught them about responsibility. EL students received their fluency certificates, and the school celebrated another year of being a unified champion school. I liked the joke about the pony. I made my first trip to the Mount Sac Invitational Cross Country Meet in San Bernardino, where middle schools from all over the state competed. This was founded in 1948. I believe one of the speakers from, was it Bernardo Heights, mentioned it or attended it. I can't remember exactly. Twin Peaks Middle School dominated this competition. All 6 teams placed on the podium. The energy and positivity of this whole experience was electric. I'm not a runner, though. I'd like to give a shout out and congratulations to Coach Tracy Domino, who works at Oak Valley as a PE teacher, coaches the cross-country team at Twin Peaks, 158 strong, and was also the Painted Rock Teacher of the Year. She is an amazing individual. I didn't recognize her at the Starstruck event the other night. She recognized me because I'm used to seeing her in a hat and gym shorts and a shirt, and she was all dressed up. So, amazing individual. I also like to congratulate Ms. Arnett and Ms. Anderson for putting on a beautiful event for our Starstruck honorees the other evening. Teachers, administrators, classified employees, and volunteers of the year for going above and beyond and being recognized by their peers in their respective roles to bring a better comprehensive educational experience for all of our students. So thank you to all of you for all the hard work you do, and for those who help make an evening as wonderful as the other evening was possible. I'm continuing to serve on the Counselors Advisory Committee at Twin Peaks. We had our first meeting of the year earlier this week. Their goal for this year is to improve attendance and reduce first period tardies. The committee is comprised of faculty, staff, counselors, parents, and students. It was a meaningful conversation filled with great suggestions on ways to achieve this goal. While this was the first year I was unable to attend the Poway girls field hockey team in their second CIF game, I want to congratulate them. I understand they won last night and are moving on to the championship game this weekend, so best of luck, girls. Veterans Day just passed. So many veterans are proud and humble. If you are a veteran, thank you for your service. Thanksgiving is 2 weeks away. I know we all have so much to be thankful for.
I'm thankful for my family, my friends, my health, the community I am blessed to be a part of. I am thankful for the journey I have had these past 4 years on this board. I have been challenged, enlightened, inspired countless times by our staff, faculty, and most importantly, our students. So many serve in this capacity, visit school sites, and collaborate in the moment. It has been so much more than that for me. So many of these campuses I attended as a child. When I return to these campuses now, I am constantly reflecting on where we have been as a district and where we are now. We are not perfect, but we continue to strive to do better. I am thankful for the relationships I have formed with the dedicated, hardworking, compassionate individuals with whom I am honored to sit up here with month after month. And I am thankful for you, my longtime friend, for asking me to consider the possibility of serving in a greater capacity. I hope all of you have much to be thankful for this season, and with that, I conclude my report.
I'm going to stick with the thankfulness theme because there's plenty of that to go around. I'm going to start with our students. I am thankful for opportunities that our students have to shine in performing arts. I just want to mention a couple of them. At Poway Onstage's 35th anniversary gala, our students from our high school choirs got to sing to a sold-out crowd with Broadway superstar diva Kristen Chenoweth. I attended Mount Carmel's play, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, with Dr. Patel and crew. And was really moved by the thoughtful portrayal of heavy, heavy topics there. The acting, the sound, the set, the lighting, and the projections all contributed to this very all-encompassing sensory journey. And that was the point, and they did it proud. I cried. But then juxtapose that with the Bronco Players' rendition of Chicago, singing, dancing, jazz, glitz, murder. I loved every second of that one. I had to make a real effort not to sing along from my seat. You're lucky you weren't sitting next to me then. Wizard of Oz opened tonight at Westview. I'm going to see it tomorrow. I am so thankful for these performing arts programs. Our elementary students talked about the ones at their school in musical theater and choir. I'm thankful for the adults who support our kids in this and the high-quality work our students do on stage and behind the scenes. I'm thankful for the growing inclusion movement, social inclusion. Let me be more specific. Those opportunities that are growing for our students. This past month, I think many of us did, but I attended 3 unified events. So the one at the Adobe Bluffs to applaud that they received their Unified Champions school banner from Special Olympics. They worked hard for that. The effort shows in their school climate. I also attended the 2 unified sports events that have been brought up already, the Unified PE Soccer Championship between the Titans and the Nighthawks, and the Interdistrict Unified PE Tournament with Del Norte and Poway, but also Grossmont, Valhalla, and El Cajon Valley High School. It was amazing. And next year, I know that we expect to have all 5 of our comprehensive high schools offering unified PE. So that tournament could be enormous next year. I love that inclusion matters. Thank you to the district staff and our community partners and parent volunteers who help make these opportunities come to fruition for our students. And again, started with something that I attended with you, picked up and ran with it over here on this side. I'm thankful for the work our parents put into our schools. But on that note, I teased last month a behind-the-scenes story starring Director of IT, our Information Technology Director, Ken Wall. So I did verify the details, and I want to tell it this month. As many of you are aware, there's some background here, there was a big delay in getting our school volunteers cleared to come on campuses this year. And there are thousands of these volunteers in our district who help make our kids' education better. We absolutely need them. But there are requirements that have to be met to safeguard student safety. All volunteers have to be checked out through the Megan's Law database, have a TB test and clearance. Super important, obviously, for student safety, but it all takes a long time. And some of it is totally out of the district's control. But when you do it all via paper copies of forms that require manual input and change hands multiple times, it takes even longer. Many of our IT employees have kids in our schools, and this problem was bubbling up to them from their sites, from their kids' teachers. So Ken Wall and Jean Nelson enter the picture. They took a proactive look at it from an IT perspective, and they identified and solved the Megan's Law efficiency program that we were facing in the district. The data entry backlog solution came next. It required extra hands from IT to join the manual input effort, and they got through thousands of our volunteers in the first couple of days. And finally, the longer-term solution for that manual paper data entry efficiency problem, expect a fully digital automated process coming later this school year, really, truly. And that's just one concrete example of why Director Wall is Access San Diego County IT Administrator of the Year and a behind-the-scenes PUSD hero. So thank you, Mr. Wall, who's sitting in the back there. And it matters because you know what those cleared parent volunteers were able to help out with over the past month once they actually got into our schools? I could literally never list a fraction of what they do. But I saw a ton of them honored at the district Starstruck event on Tuesday night. Again, I'll echo the kudos to Brittany Arnett and Kathleen Porter and their teams who helped them put that on. That was amazing and a huge undertaking. But those volunteers help our schools be great. I saw them helping out at Design 39 campus's celebration of us on the Music and Dance Day. I know how amazing the PTA volunteers were in helping Sunset Hills' Veterans Day celebration, where members of Marine Air Control Group 38 joined the students, military families, and students serenaded them with the Armed Forces medley. That doesn't happen by accident. The kids didn't know that without help. It was really moving. I was there with Mr. Mizell, in fact. Parent volunteers also help bring therapy dogs to most of our schools from Love on a Leash, and petting a dog. There's a reason that those dogs show up right before finals time in the high schools, and they sit with elementary students during read aloud practice. Petting a dog lowers stress and blood pressure and improves your mood. And that's a time, if I ever heard of one, that we need that. So thank you to all the volunteers who bring these extras to life in our schools. And now I want to start wrapping this up because next month we're going to welcome 2 new board members and a new superintendent. But before that happens, Mr. Mizell, 9 months ago, you stepped in, 10, he's correcting me. God, see, here. All right, time flies. 10 months ago, you stepped into this role, sat down in that seat of interim superintendent. It was a difficult time. You were the warm hug that our system needed, a steady, visible leader, and how much you care has been a hallmark of your time in the position. And that speaks so highly of you. The board asked a lot more of you than just keeping the ship afloat. We know it. And you rose to the challenge. You were learning and improving every day, the mark of a real leader. And you had a team backing you. So thank you to everyone up here. And while you're stepping back as Dr. Churchill arrives, there's always a place for a leader of your caliber here. So I want to say thank you, and I know the board is with me on that one. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And finally, a few thoughts on how grateful I am for the 4 and 8 years I've spent on this board with Dr. Seitzma and Dr. Patel. Now I'm going to try not to cry. I've known Dr. Seitzma since elementary school at Sunset Hills, Brownie Girl Scouts, PQ Rec Soccer. I've known Dr. Patel since we served together on the PQ Town Council as president and vice president. Both of these public servants ran for school board as active, engaged parents who want the best for their own kids and everybody else's. That hasn't changed, not one time, not one day, not 1 second. Both are exceptional leaders who care deeply about this district and have worked to keep students at the forefront of every decision we make. Being a board member is a hard job, and what you see up here once a month is just a teeny tiny part of what we do. I've shared these words of Dr. Seuss before, but I'll say them again. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So Cindy and Darsh, things in Poway Unified are better because of you. Never forget the difference you've made here. And I gotta wrap this. As we all look to what's next, let's remember to keep asking, what's the best that could happen? To you.
Okay, thank you. So I have a pair of recognitions to report this month. Hard to follow that, but there are a couple of other things I want to mention that weren't. We have 2 school sites that were awarded with community grants to continue or to enhance student programs. Kelly Lasho, a 5th grade teacher at Stone Ranch Elementary School, has been awarded the Annie Gillespie Innovative Grant to support the start of a student-run newscast on campus. This is a first for the Trailblazer community. And Westwood Elementary School has been awarded an education grant from the Barona Band of Mission Indians to support the continuation of the Positivity Project on campus, an initiative that empowers students to recognize character strengths in themselves and others while building meaningful relationships. I want to congratulate both schools for a job well done. On Starstruck, we heard a number of people who we expressed appreciation to, and Michelle, I'm thankful that you picked up Kathleen Porter. I just want to say thank you, and on behalf of the board and cabinet, would you please also extend our gratitude to our sponsors and to our foundation, because that event doesn't happen without a lot of people really leaning in hard, and for the first time at a new venue, home run. So, and whoever hung those lights in the windows, can you just, I mean, that was really a nice touch. Next level for Starstruck, right? Really good. All right. This week's also an exciting time for many of our PUSD athletes. I mentioned this because we heard earlier reference to finals, and I'm mindful of the extra burden that our student athletes and our student performers, like all of our students who are engaged in extracurriculars, in Poway Unified, that's no small thing. Like, our kids go big. They're in challenging and rigorous courses, and for our athletes who are still alive, our fall athletes, just a shout out of admiration, appreciation, respect, that you're practicing every night, studying every night, right? Carrying all of that and carrying it so well in so many contexts it's crazy. So Del Norte's cross-country teams, both boys and girls, won league championships, and they're both advancing to CIS this weekend. I know our Poway High School girls field hockey team is playing tomorrow in the D1 championship. Is that right? Yes, that's right. There we go. Thank you. See, this matters. It's important. I want to make sure I get it right. Mr. Lemaster, correct me if I miss. Fire. We also have several high schools playing football tomorrow night, so if you're looking for a fun date on a Friday night, I'll tell you what, the footballs, these are teams that have advanced, right? So we have Del Norte, Poway, Rancho Bernardo, and Westview all in action tomorrow night. So super excited for our athletes, super excited for our schools, and it's just a great part of high school life and I think life in PUSD. So it's what makes me miss being a high school principal, to be honest, these markers. So, and then just finally, before concluding my report, I'd like to acknowledge the effort, dedication, and service of both Dr. Cindy Seitzman and Dr. Darshana Patel. Tonight is their last full board meeting with us as board members. And quite a bit has been said, but I would be remiss if I didn't personally say thank you. Thank you for your service. You are both well-known in the communities you serve and in the broader community as well. You are each a force. You were before you stepped into these roles, and can I just say, you will be after. So you don't have to be seated up here to make an impact. And I know you'll both continue to be connected to our schools, and I know you'll continue to support our schools in this district. So counting on that, and just wanted to say thank you. I'd also like to take a moment to express my gratitude to the board and to everybody present just for the opportunity to serve as your interim superintendent. The last 10 months have been quite a ride. Very, very grateful. The strength in this district resides in our people. Can I just say that? It resides in our people, and it resides in our classified, our certificated, and our managers, like every person who loves Poway and who serves selflessly. You are the people. You're what carries us, right? Through the choppy water, through the winning moments, and those moments where, man, if we had a mulligan, we'd do them over and do them different. But whatever, right, the life of this organization is, whatever cycle we find ourselves in, and we have the highs and the lows like every other organization, it's the people who love this place who make it special, and the people who love this place that carry it forward. So thank you to the people seated in this room, to the people at the dais, and to our school board. Thank you. So I think we did pretty well these last 10 months, and I'm going to continue to assert with great confidence that I can't wait to see what's next for PUSD. I truly believe our best days are ahead. I really do. So that concludes my report. I hope you all have a restful and wonderful Thanksgiving break if I don't see you before.
Adjournment. The next regular scheduled board meeting will be held on Tuesday, December 17th at 6 p.m. right here. See you then. We are adjourned at 8:03.